I just wanted to use this opportunity to share, with you guys things that I have learned along the way. The sooner you start thinking about your future and plan for your future, to me, in my opinion, the better off you will be. Looking back at it now, if I had started to save, from what little I was earning back then, no matter how small it is, trust me guys, that's just the reason why I'm doing this. Basically, it's just to educate you guys. All right, so I would say number one would be to save. Now, I would suggest saving 10 to 15% of your salary per month, just to prepare yourself for any uncertainties or just to prepare yourself for the future. However, if your salary cannot afford a 10 to 15%, budget for saving, I would suggest starting smaller and working your way up. It could be $1,000 per month. It could even be $2,000 per month. Just start with what you're comfortable with. Grow as you change jobs, as you grow, step up the corporate ladder, or if you start a business, whatever is weak, because you could be an entrepreneur or you can be employed to a company. It still is important to save, and I would suggest between 10 to 15%. Currently I save 15% of my salary every month, and that's just something that I'm comfortable with doing. I used to save 20% before, but there were changes in my life, such as a baby, and now I typically save 15% of my salary. So number two on my list would be committing to a budget and track your spending. Trust me, it is very important. To this day, and I never used to do this before when I was younger, and people used to tell me, you need a budget, do a budget. I was like, I don't need a budget. I literally used to tell myself I don't need a budget. I know what I'm doing. And I guess at the time, because I wasn't earning much money, I didn't put much thought into it. But so commit to a budget and track your spending. Whatever you budget for the month, be a stickler for that. So if you want to include social events in your budget, do that, because that would be something that you're comfortable with doing. So do that, and track what you spend. So typically what I do, I collect all my receipts, I keep them. So sometimes my bag is a mess because I will have like 2 or 3 months of receipts in my bag. So I keep my receipts, I come home, I tally up how much my items come to per month when I do my monthly shopping, and I go back to my budget and I see what am I missing, what's done. And also my budget, it includes everything: my light, my water, my cable, my food, my savings, my credit card, my kids. Everything is in my budget. You have to be precise with your budget and stick to your budget. Number 3, as a young person coming up, in your 20s, because so many times people believe, oh, my 20s are my free years, I can do what I want, I can live how I want. No, your 20s is when you learn to come into your own. So if you started working at 18 and you were like slacking off, by the time you hit 20, I would suggest you follow this path. Even if you're 21, it's not too late. Follow these steps that I'm telling you and track them, use them to track your spending and your habits, and just don't waste your money on things that you don't need to. All right, number 3 is buying quality over quantity. So what does that mean? It means buying things that will last. And when I say last, them not make things like what they used to make things, and that's a fact, okay? But I find that when you invest in a few key things that you will need for long term, and long term is 5 years or more, it makes your life better, and you don't have to go and repurchase those items over and over again. For example, if you're gonna go on your own, invest in a good stove. Yes, it might be expensive, but it will be worth it in the end. So invest in a good stove, in a good fridge, invest in like good furniture. You don't have to change your furniture every 5 years. You don't, you know. So invest in those things that you know will last or stand the test of time. And if, for example, as old people would say, if push come to shove and you need to make money from them because you spent money on them, you can actually resell them. There are people who will buy secondhand furniture or appliances. Number 4, I mentioned this in my last video, so I'm not gonna get too in depth with it, but I'm just gonna mention it again. Having a good pension plan. And having a good pension plan is extremely important, because people say, oh, I'm 20, I don't need to have a pension because I'm not going to be able to use that money for so many years, and blah 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 blah. But guys, I would suggest that you shop around when you're seeking a financial institution to decide who you're going to be doing your pension with. So you should definitely think about that before you get involved with that. All right, so don't be afraid of pension. You know, it's just a security blanket for when you get older. Number 5, so number 5 is limit your spending on non-essential items. Now guys, I'm not gonna say I've done this often, but I have done this in the past. So for example, for me, non-essential items are things that I really don't need, but I feel like I want. So for example, I may have a foundation now and it fits me well. Oh, you know, Maybelline is out with a new foundation and I want it, but do you need it? Do you need it? So it's good to talk to yourself and tell yourself that, you know, you're not gonna waste your money. So non-essential items are basically things that you don't need and you really waste your money on getting them because they are not a necessity. So I would completely eliminate those. Or even if you do have that tendency, to only do it like once every 2 or 3 months. You know, you just kind of splurge a little and you prepare yourself for it, so it's not spontaneous. Number 6 is going to be having an emergency fund. I did mention this in my previous video as well, but I'm gonna mention it again. So it is important to have an emergency fund. So as I said before, you should save, right? I did say that. And I did say that you're supposed to save between 10 to 15% of your salary. Now, say for example, you have saved 10 to 15% of your salary, but you cannot afford to have an emergency fund. So here's what I would suggest. How about committing to 15%? Right? So you committed to 15%, but you're gonna split the 15% into 2. So you're gonna use 10% as your savings and you're gonna put it over here. The 5%, you're gonna put it over here in a separate account as your emergency fund account. So whenever things arise that you did not plan for, you can have access to that money. And I also would suggest not having a card for your savings account, because I find that having a debit card, an ATM card, if you're not disciplined, again, if you're not disciplined, you're gonna want to spend the money. And I don't know guys, if you want good, as old people say, your nose off a run. So just be patient with yourself and know that everything that you're doing is preparing you for ultimately what you want to achieve in life. And I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna tie in the whole savings thing and how it's gonna be beneficial to you. So let's move on to number 7, life insurance. Now I did mention life insurance in my previous video, so I'm not going to mention it in full detail, but having good life insurance is very important to have. And also, some life insurance policies come with money attached to them. So after your policy is matured to a certain amount, or after a certain time has passed, you can actually use that money. So you can actually draw that money from the account or from the plan, and you can put it in your savings, or you can put it in your emergency fund, or if it's enough, you can actually take it to go on vacation. Treat yourself a little, right? Number 8 is having good credit. And if you have not yet seen my video on credit score and the importance of having good credit score in Jamaica, I am going to link it here for you guys, or here. But be on the lookout for it. Look out for that card if you have not yet seen that video, and go ahead and check it out. So when you're young, just working, of course, you're not going to be thinking about having a credit score, because you might not be borrowing loans or accessing loans or feel the need to access loans. So you're gonna say, oh, you don't need to worry about your credit score. Scrap that. That is BS. You need to be worried about your credit score, because when you hit 25, 26, 27, 28, and you want to own a house, a car, you're gonna need a good credit score. So having a good credit score is extremely important, guys. If you take out a loan, be disciplined, pay your loan back. It's gonna benefit you in the long run. You might not see it now, but in the long run, it's gonna benefit you, and it's gonna make you, feel better about yourself. And when the time comes and you need to access, loans, because even if because I'm learning that not everywhere uses your credit score, but everywhere requests your credit score. So even if they don't use your credit score, but you have a bad credit score, this is going to mean they're going to charge you more interest. Do you want to be paying more interest? Who wants to be paying more interest? So just think about that, and think about what it is you're getting yourself involved in, and make good decisions for yourself. All right, so number 9 is having a good long-term and short-term investment strategy. Again, in my previous video, I did mention two ways in which to flip your money legally, and that's buying stocks and bonds. So of course, again, I'm gonna speak about that again, because stocks and bonds, they are the legal way of flipping your money. And so if you choose to do that, and you choose to have an investment, so if you decide to use to have a long-term and a short-term investment strategy, the first thing I'm gonna tell you guys you need to think about is, how much are you comfortable with losing? If you cannot afford to lose, it doesn't make any sense you invest, because that's what investments are about. You're gonna win sometimes, but you're also gonna lose sometimes, and you need to consider those things when you are deciding on your long-term and your short-term plans. All right, so, and my top 10 thing that I wish I knew when I was younger is definitely going to be, use your time wisely, right? Time lost can never be regained. Trust me. No matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, no matter where you grow up, no matter where you live, no matter your status in life, one thing you can never get back is lost time. So I'm gonna implore you guys, be wise with your time, be wise with how you choose to spend your time and who you choose to spend your time with. Sometimes it's important to disconnect. And when I say disconnect, I mean disconnect from people, disconnect from all the chaos that's been going on in the world. Sometimes you need to purge yourself and take a break from social media to reevaluate your life, to reevaluate your strategies, to come up with new strategies, to bring it in. It's like a football game. You're gathering your thoughts, you're strategizing your plans, and then you execute. So never be ashamed to tell people you don't have any time. Tell them you're busy, you have something to do, but use your time wisely. All right, so that is basically it for this video. So that was my top 10 things I knew I wished when I was younger. But before I go, I did say I was gonna mention, how I tie in the whole financial part of this to your credit score. And what I'm gonna leave you guys with is, if you start saving at 20 and your dream is to own a home by the time you are 25, so that would be that would basically be your 5-year plan. Yes, say you're saving 10 grand per month for the next 5 years. So 10 times 12 is 120. So that's $120,000 that you will have, right, for 1 year. So by the time you get to 25, when you actually want to own a home, you would have $600,000 saved. $600,000. You're gonna need a deposit. Trust me. Don't be fooled. They are not giving you 100% as they claim. No matter how you see they're selling you, but you can get up to 100% BS. Do not buy into it. You're gonna need money. So if you start saving early and you don't waste any time, and you're a stickler for your goals, and you don't let anyone put you off that track, trust me, you make it. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for staying with me, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment, and I will see you guys in my another video or tutorial. Take care.